Hey, welcome to the Huddle Review. You are here with Jeff exclusively on the chain. Today we're going to approach this whole SEC versus Ripple from a slightly different angle. Why? Because we want to look at all the other things that are happening kind of around the case. What are some of the things that might have led up to it? What are some of the things that are happening at the exact same time? There's cases, there's bills that are being presented in front of Congress. There's other specific statements that have come out, from the SEC. There are other things that are happening, in the periphery that are really, interesting, overall, because we have activity from Grayscale. There's things going on over in the Ukraine. FinCEN has talked about what are you doing with offshore crypto. There's things going on over in China right now that we really have to look at. Even the American Banker magazine has been referencing some of the inroads that crypto and blockchain have been making in the financial services industry in 2020. And what is this about the US Treasury wanting complete cryptocurrency control? It's all of that and more in under 10 minutes. Can we make it happen? I don't know. Let's try. Let's go.
And now, the Huddle Review with Jeff on the chain.
All right, welcome back. This is great. So we've spent the better part of like a week and a half analyzing the SEC versus Ripple from many different angles. If you check out our live streams on the other channel, we had Deaton, a lawyer that's actually suing the SEC on behalf of the claims that the SEC has been making about Ripple, but more so on what they're doing to the XRP digital asset from an investment perspective or overall. So go back, check out the other channel, go watch that. If you're brand new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. You'll definitely, thank us later. But appreciate you for being here. Appreciate the time spent with us. So let's dig into all of these things that have been going on. Now, one of the things that we brought up early, on our live stream, you can dig into that one. It was titled SEC versus Ripple, regulate the payments, regulate the money, control the world. I was focusing a little bit on a bill that was presented by Congressman Emmer. Now, Congressman Emmer introduced this bill back in September. So long ago, September 24th. It's this bill, HR 8378. The reason why this bill is so important is because it was specifically geared up to addressing and amending the security laws to exclude the investment contract assets from the definition of a security. Now, this bill was actually introduced by Emmer, Congressman Conway, as well as Congressman Darren Soto out of Orlando. Now, Darren Soto, you might know him because he was one of the key sponsors and architects of the Token Taxonomy Act. Now, the HR 8378, one of the things I brought up is the Token Taxonomy Act is like the granddaddy of all these bills in this space. HR 8378 is like one of the great-grandchildren, so to speak, of that bill. Now, there's a key point in this that I wanted to bring up, and it has to do with how they define the Howie Test and why it becomes important and some of the communication and how they refer to things. But the Howie Test is how they really determine whether or not something is a security or not. Then in this instance, within this bill, they're trying to make a statement that there are blockchain companies, there's technology there that are starting within the space with a digital asset to try to raise funds, to try to help further the technology. It might even come after the fact, but they want that investment contract removed and the statement that is no longer, that it is not a security. And that becomes very, very critical to really have a distinction between all these things that are happening. Had this bill got legs and moved past the Financial Services Committee and moved on to Senate and got signed as a bill, maybe we wouldn't be sitting there here having this conversation of the SEC versus Ripple. One of the things that Ripple has brought up for a long time is needing regulatory clarity. One of the things that we talk about on both of our channels, on our videos, is that in order for this space to truly get to where it needs to go, we need regulatory clarity. The one thing that Brian Brooks, the comptroller of the currency, had stated was that we're looking for seeing regulatory clarity dropping within like 4 to 6 weeks from a few weeks ago. So that means by end of January, beginning of February 2021, we should expect to see regulatory clarity. And we're starting to see hints of all of this dropping it and coming to the forefront. Now, Darren Soto also released another bill that is now in front of, I believe it made it in front of committee. Let me see. Yeah, the House Committee on Energy and Commerce. Now, there's really no context yet to this bill, but it was submitted on December 31st. So we're talking about just a couple days ago, and it has to do with establishing a department specifically related to blockchain tech. Now, why am I reiterating this? You probably heard it on the live channel, and you're like, why is he talking about this again? Well, I want to look at the fact that on the other side, you have Rashida Tlaib out of Michigan that put a bill out there, and I don't even think it made it to committee, but the bill was called the Stable Act, which has to do with stable coins and the need of having banking licensing in order to release a stable coin, and the stable coins that are pegged to a US dollar. Now they focus and try to single out Libra and what Libra is doing, or Facebook was Libra, now it's Diem, and so they put a lot of emphasis on this. Now this came back also in that like September, October, November timeframe, but what I look here is that I see one side looking for solutions, another side trying to break down the solutions and trying to regulate, overregulate, and dictate the direction of the technology. This would be similar to the government imposing regulation in the early days on the internet browser, saying, no, the internet browser is now going to be regulated and the domain of the government, but we're going to give it to the post office and let them be in control, and you have to have a postal license in order to launch a browser. Imagine what that would have done to technology. So the stablecoin, obviously not the exact same thing, but in that vein, how it's going to potentially crush technology if Rashida Tlaib and her cohorts actually got their way, it could be very, very damaging overall to the space. And so now we see very clear lines, and I'm not talking about Republican, Democrat, or otherwise, because on one side you have Republicans and Democrats that believe very strongly in needing to have regulatory clarity for the digital asset space, and on the other side you have people that aren't even investing their time to truly understand it and trying to present law or interpretation or regulation based on their idea of how they could control this space further. And so now we don't have to go that much further. So I'm looking at this, I'm saying, hey, what's going on in the space right now, this tension? It's been identified around the world that digital assets are here to stay. This case, SEC versus Ripple, can be very, very detrimental and damaging. And now we also see that, by the way, there was a bill presented back in September, and actually you can go back a couple years, because if you go back to the Token Taxonomy Act, had Congress had the wherewithal to have gotten this through committee and passed, then we would already know and already have clarity for what is and isn't a security, and then also seeing what's excluded from being a security and allowing XRP to continue the way it should continue without trying to be detrimental, not just to one company, one entity, one digital asset, but to the space in its entirety. Because now you look, so now there's misinformation, and some of this stuff was happening over the past couple days. We've already talked about it, but Grayscale, there was a lot of statements saying that they liquidated mass amounts of XRP and XLM, and that was false information that was being put out there by somebody. Now, the fact is that Grayscale didn't liquidate, but in fact invested in an additional 12 million XRP. So the exact opposite of what was being said. Now, while this is going on, and we hinted at it on the live stream, the Ukrainian government is now building their central bank digital currency on Stellar. So the decisions, the ideas, everything is being moved forward. And we see friendly regulatory environments in Japan and in the UK and in Malaysia and in countries all over the world. They're becoming regulatory friendly. Even in Russia, they've already identified that SWIFT is probably going to disappear because of digital currencies. But here in the US, FinCEN, which already has issued statements that XRP is not a security, has now come out and saying that FinCEN wants US citizens to disclose offshore crypto holdings of 10,000 plus. Now, there's actually already a tax form to fill out if indeed you hold digital asset on a foreign exchange in amounts over 10,000. Now, that's nothing new, because if you have bank accounts outside the US, 10,000 plus, you need to disclose that. So there's what they're trying to do here, FinCEN. We can look at this positively, we can look at this negatively, but in this context, FinCEN is actually stating very clearly in this regard that they are looking at digital asset like a currency. Therefore, you need to identify it. If it has that valuation of 10,000 or more, you need to disclose those holdings. They don't say the same thing if you happen to own a piece of artwork or a watch. They don't want to know if you have a watch valued more than $10,000 that you happen to have kept overseas somewhere. But they do want to know if you have a bank account. They do want to know if you're traveling with 10,000 or more. And in this scenario, they want to know. And I think that's a positive, net positive, based on their interpretation and identification of what the digital asset space is. So I think that's really important. Then we move on, and this becomes interesting because we see a lot of concern and turmoil, and is the US moving fast enough in the digital asset space? China with their digital yuan has been dropping more and more now. I think they dropped another $3 million worth of a digital yuan in order to give people the opportunity to try it out and use it. While at the same time, we're seeing the wealthy in China are looking for other places to live. They're trying to get away from China, because one thing that we know for certain is that Jack Ma, who was the richest person in China, that developed Alibaba, that's part of the Ant Group, that had this, a number of initiatives within the payment space, that has then refocused on other initiatives. The Chinese government came out and said, nope, Jack Ma, your company has to focus only on the payment space. And if it doesn't do that, then you'll see. Now, since October, Jack Ma has disappeared. Do you think all these other wealthy individuals in China are also seeing the writing on the wall? Now, the reason why I bring that up isn't necessarily just to bash what's going on over there, but you're starting to see kind of this thought process is that here China regulating their centralized digital currency, the digital yuan. They want more oversight over their people. They're not allowing their people to decide the direction of their private their industry. Extend now, people are trying to leave China because of being controlled, or maybe they'll try to crush their own assets. So they want to move their assets. Now, does that sound familiar to what Rashida Tlaib had presented when it came to stablecoins? Maybe an overzealousness and overreaching authority of how you can allow a private company to develop the technology that is the stablecoin technology that can impact blockchain. Same thing with the SEC now. Maybe the way they presented the case against Ripple, maybe overstepping, overreaching with a little bit of zealousness, overzealousness to accomplish what end? So there's a lot of things that are happening here. Again, in Russia they've identified, in Malaysia they've identified, Japan. In Japan, XRP isn't a security. We're seeing development in India. There's still a little bit of tension there in India when it comes to the crypto space, but we don't need to move backwards in the U.S. We need to move forward. So here I talked about with the American banker, the fact that, how is it that crypto and blockchain have made significant steps in terms of getting involved with the financial services? We're seeing financial services and corporations investing in Bitcoin. We have Visa and MasterCard and others that are looking for a way to be part of the payment space with a digital currency. The Federal Reserve is talking about it. I mean, in every angle, everywhere you look, the cryptocurrency and the digital asset space is becoming relevant. Now we're seeing the initial early adopters in the retail investment space of digital assets is almost taking a back seat to the bigger institutions that are slowly moving in, pushing Bitcoin to all new highs. The only difference now is that you're seeing Ethereum go up, Bitcoin go up, and XRP has scaled back, sitting still at 22 or 23 cents as we make this video. So there's other things that are in play. And at the same time, with all of this going on, you have the US Treasury that's looking to somehow gain control over cryptocurrency. Now, this was an article in the Finance Magnets, and a statement specific from the article. The department plans to centralize crypto transactions with new regulations. But the cryptocurrency industry here and the exchanges don't want that. So here you have from the article, the U.S. Treasury Department proposed strict regulations for cryptocurrency exchanges earlier this month to identify owners of digital assets in the U.S. They really want to, if you have transactions of more than $3,000, they want to know. And as we were talking about before, so here it says, the Treasury also asked exchanges to submit the information of the owner of a crypto wallet if transactions exceed $10,000. So if you're moving more than $10,000, they want to know. So they want to become more inquisitive into individuals' holdings of digital assets, and almost like an invasion of privacy. The government doesn't need to know how much money you have in the bank. They don't know. I'm sure, if they file whatever, there's a way to find out. But they don't automatically know. You're not telling someone that, hey, by the way, I've got 300,000 in this account, 100,000 in this account, $1 million in that account. That's private. Now, in this scenario, the Treasury Department is overreaching, and they want to know in the crypto wallet, if there's a transaction of more than 10,000, they want to know about it. But why is that their business? If I move 10,000 from this bank to that bank, it's nobody's business but my own. So we have to be very cognizant of what's happening. So this SEC versus Ripple can become very influential in the space for development, but there's other things that are going on at the same time that are also potentially detrimental. So here it says, digital assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum are known for their decentralized nature. Even the SEC's former head, Jay Clayton, recognized Bitcoin and Ethereum as decentralized payment methods. But now they want to change that a little bit. And here, obviously, we know that, Clayton, decides that he's going to file the suit against Ripple, and then he resigns. So what exactly is going on in this space? And who has the most to gain from it? But again, this is stuff that's now it's kind of moving forward, and it's moving forward at warp speed, because here you have from 2017, 2018, big ramp up. 2018, the crypto slid down, got in this long bear market, and it was almost like not completely silenced because you saw movement, trying to roll out bills and other things going on in the space, but nothing stuck. But obviously all that was building up. It was building up. The momentum was gaining. Now we hit this peak, 2020 moving into 2021. But the last month has been exciting to see all the movement in the space. And then this culmination with this suit, SEC versus Ripple. What is the initiative there? What is the agenda? And a big question that came out of the live stream yesterday was, regarding PayPal. And I think we're going to clip that out and put that in its own video. But PayPal launched an exchange, did not add XRP. What did they know? When did they know it? And did they know in advance of even Ripple that this case was coming? I don't know. But it's interesting that they added the top tier, but they didn't add Ripple, or XRP. Sorry, and I'm wondering if they knew something that was going on with Ripple. But anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the thumbs up. Check out the live streams. We're going to be streaming every night this week again. Looking forward to seeing you on both. And I will check you out on the next one. Let's go.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.